In this video, we're going to talk about simple design tips for non-designers. Let's go. Thanks for joining me on this video. My name is Juna with Detour Shirts, a channel all about helping you design and sell t-shirts online. If that's something you like to do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some simple design tips that you can do even if you're a non-designer. And these design tips are things that you can do on most design applications. I'm going to be using Affinity Designer, but I hope that the design application that you're using can do some of these tips. I haven't used all of them, but I'm guessing simple ones like Canva and Procreate and of course Illustrator would be able to do these as well. So they're super simple. If you own Affinity Designer, but you're not a designer, these are the tips for you. You may have just started, you bought it and are following the tutorials, but don't know exactly how to draw or how to use it. These are going to be some very simple and easy design tips for you to use to make your t-shirt design stand out from the rest of the t-shirts out there. So you're going to want to stay to the end to see all the different tips as well as the examples that I'm going to give on before and after of what these will do for your t-shirts, as well as another edition of trend credits. So a lot to see in this video. Let's get started. So here we are in Affinity Designer, and I wanted to start off with this. So usually when people are starting off, maybe they're new designers, maybe they are non-designers, they just got Affinity Designer and want to make a lot of t-shirts. The first thing that most people do or beginners do is they just type out the phrase, right? So here I am. I'm using Times New Roman here. Nothing wrong with this font, but you can see it's not very thick. It's something that almost everybody has, so they use it. And you can see, this is the phrase, awake but not woke. And that's something everybody can do, so it doesn't stand out. So this is what happens when you see it together with all the other t-shirts, right? So here's the design that we're talking about right here. Did that stand out first? I think maybe this one stands out, maybe this one stands out, but this definitely just gets lost in the sea of different designs, right? So that is the problem, and that's the problem I'm going to help you solve, is to make your design stand out and make it different so that people, when they come by and they look at all of these designs here, they'll see yours stand out. Instead of just swiping through yours or scrolling through yours and not even giving yours a second chance, because honestly, if you just did this, even if you did this 100 times, right, it's not going to make a difference. So you have to make sure when you're designing for t-shirts to do something that will catch people's eye, something that people want to wear, and something that's going to stand out. When they're scrolling through here, remember, it's a competition. That's why I say on the trend credits, here's your competition. It's because if you're here and nobody else is even giving you a second look and they just whiz by it, you're not going to get any sales. So you need to do something a little different to stand out. And that's what this video is for. So let's start off here. I'm going to do everything in Affinity Designer, but you can do it in your app. The first thing I'm going to do is talk about font choices. So the first thing that you saw on there was Times New Roman. You can see, doesn't stand out here, doesn't stand out against all of these. And look at some of these. They're using some really thick fonts, right? Bold fonts. And that's what you need to do. I'm not saying to always use this font, but this font is a big, thick font, right? So this will stand out more than the other font. Another thing you could do is to use a thick script font. So right here, I'm using Thirsty Soft. I'm using the Nexus Russ Sans at the top. And then I broke it up with another font, a script font. You can see right away, this already is better. This is still just text, right? I'm just using fonts that match, fonts that stand out, fonts that will catch your eye. So number one, font choices. Make sure you use fonts that help your design stand out. Even if it's just text, this is one way that you can already see that this is better than what we had before. So font choices. Number two, I'm going to scroll over here. Now just play with size. If you have a graphic design tool, you can make this bigger, smaller, right? So I'm playing with size here. So the thing that you might want to think about is to think of the words that you want to stand out to make those bigger. So woke, in this case, I think woke is the thing that catches people's eye. So I made woke bigger, and I made but not smaller. So I'm playing with the size here. You can see it's not all the same size. And this already is making it stand out, right? This is making it different than having it all the same size. Playing with size really can make your design stand out. So that's number 2. Real easy to do. Just grab the edges and make it bigger, make it smaller, make it bigger, right? So that's something I think everybody can do. Just play with size of the fonts. Real easy for non-designers and designers alike. Number 2 is play with size. Number 3 is to use a rectangle and reverse text. Now anybody can do this. All you need to do is draw a rectangle. You can see this is just a rectangle with the rectangle tool. I'm just drawing it like that, right? Just click and drag. And then my text is inside the rectangle. This is just black text here. One thing you may need to do if you want to knock it out. So let's say this is not black now, it's gray. So you can see that it's not really knocked out yet. It's just the black text. So the way you knock things out in Affinity Designer is you're going to convert these to curves. So it's not text. So now it's all curves. You're going to ungroup them like this. And then you're going to select both the rectangle and the text and hit this is subtract. And now you can see that it is knocked out. You can see that if I change the background color of this, it's going to show through, right? So that's how you knock it out. Really simple. Convert the text to curves and knock it out of the rectangle. And I say rectangle here because that's a real easy shape to do, but you can do any of these shapes, rounded rectangle, oval, whatever you want, right? So that's how you do it. Create some shapes, create some interests by doing a reverse text with your other text. And again, you can see here we're doing this is a little smaller than that, right? This is a little bigger, so on. So we're playing with size as well as the reverse text. So that's number 3, reverse text with a shape, in this case, a rectangle. Number 4 is pretty easy. This is just, I'm calling them burst lines, but all it is drawing a line with the pen tool. Now, anybody can do this. All you do is click on the pen tool, click, and there's your line. And all you have to do is move them around, right? So let me draw them here. I'll just draw them right now. You can see how easy it is. So I take the pen tool, I click here, and I click here, right? It doesn't have to be straight, but if you want it straight, hold down Shift, and it's straight. And then do the next one, click and click. So I'm clicking Command here to get the white arrow again, to click outside so I can start again. Click and click. And that's it. And so you can see here the burst lines really just make this stand out as well. So I'm using the rectangle, but I'm also using this burst lines to give it an even extra oomph, extra weight for people to see it, right? So this will make it stand out. So that's the idea with the burst lines and all these things, is to make yours stand out from the rest of the group, right? So you can see here, I'm putting my burst lines on the word that I want to be emphasized. Again, in this case, woke. So you can see the burst lines is woke, like that, right? So when people see it, that's how they read it. So that really helps, and that's really simple to do. So that's number 4, burst lines. So number 5 is arch text. So arch text is really easy to do. It may look really difficult, but it's not that hard to do. So you can see here, I just have text on a shape. You can see the shape right here is the oval, and this is shape text on a shape here. It's just on the bottom of the oval, and this is just an oval in the middle here with my text. So let me show you how to do text on a shape. So the first thing you want to do is make a shape. So let's just make a shape here, this oval, and then we're going to click on the artistic text tool. So this is just the text tool. Click on that, and you're going to see it change from an A to a T. So when it's that T, just click on it and start typing awake, right? Oh, it has to be with black letters so you can see it. Awake. AKE. Let's move these around. All right, and this one there. Let's see. And then you can play around with this reverse text path, right? If it's not doing it the right way, you can play with that. And then you're going to want to center it. So I'm putting these two triangles here on top and bottom and then hitting center here. And there you go. That's how easy it is. And if you want one on the bottom, you can just move these to the bottom. Let me show you how we did. Awake is at the top, right? And then let's move these text tools to the bottom. Oops. And then we're going to reverse it right here. Reverse text path. Now it's on the top. And if you want it, the top line to be the bottom, this is the baseline. So you're going to move the baseline down till it hits the bottom like this and type in woke right there. So that's how easy it is to do that. Awake, but not woke. So you can see this right here, this element is also making it stand out. We didn't see that on some of the other designs. So if you put this on a t-shirt, you're bound to make it stand out. And you don't have to do an arc on the top and the bottom, just one at the top or one at the bottom would work too, just to give that little extra. So I'm just showing that you can do both, but you don't have to. So number 6 here is lines and sunset. So what I'm saying is that you can make a little sunset design here, the kind of this retro sunset. And all these are our boxes, right? This is just shapes like this. So let me show you how you do it. I'm using white, but we could do it in black, right? You're just taking that, hold down Option and Shift, drag it and make this just a little shorter. Option and Shift, just a little shorter again. Option and Shift, just a little shorter. And you can see it gives that illusion of a sunset, right? So that's what I did here. And this is just lines again. So you can do a combination of lines and shapes. I could have done just a little rectangle here too. You know, I could have put this here instead of that line and colored this white. And that would have been just as fine, right? So that's just giving in some interest. Fill in the shapes, put in different designs here. And I'm just using rectangles. Use rectangles as shapes to make your sunset and to make your lines, right? So let's move that here. Awake but not woke. You can see here now, this is starting to look way different than the other ones, and this will make it stand out. And still in a nice shape of people would like to wear on their shirt, right? So very simple to do, just using rectangle shapes. If you have the ability to do rectangle shapes on your design app, you're using Affinity Designer, you can do this. Awake but not woke. Very simple. So the last thing I'm going to share with you today that's super simple to do to make your stand out is color. So let's take a look at some of the ones that we already did. Now by adding color, you can see that now that's even standing out more than just the reverse box. By adding color here, now that's standing out even more than just the vintage sunset, right? So let's take a look at how these now stand out against the competition. So let's go back to our original. Now when we scroll down and look at everything, what stands out? Well, this may not stand out the most. I mean, but it does stand out against these because, you know, these are just text now. And this, I think, stands out more than these. So you're giving yourself a better chance by doing something like this than doing something that we showed in the beginning with just text, right? How about here? Now which one stands out more? Well, I took up a lot more space on this one, right? And so now this takes up, and it has more color than everything else. So this one I think stands out way more, and it still looks nice. That's something people would want to wear. Okay, so take that into consideration. Not only does it have to stand out, but it has to be something that people would love to wear. So there you go. Very simple. I'm just using text and shape. Nothing too hard. I'm not drawing any pictures or anything. You can do that to make your design stand out. So hopefully all these tips, you don't have to use them all in every single design, but pick and choose which ones you want to use and make them stand out. You can see I didn't use the different fonts in here. I didn't use some of the other things we talked about, but I used some of them, and that's enough to make it stand out, right? So let me know in the comments if this video is really helpful for you, especially if you're a non-designer. Will these help you with your t-shirt designs? I really hope so. I hope that it makes it stand out so that you have a better chance of making some sales in the future on Amazon, on RedBubble, or wherever you're selling your print-on-demand products. Thanks so much for watching. And Your reward for watching all the way till the end is another edition of trend credits. And hopefully you can use some of these tips that we learned in this video to do your trend for this trend credit. Thanks for joining me on this trend credit. Here is your trend, working like crazy to support the lazy. Take a look at these BSRs, super low BSRs. You got some here as well. There's some that haven't sold, but you can see, super low BSR as well here. And if we check Merch Informer, working like crazy to support the lazy, it is getting an A, so it's good. If you don't have Merch Informer, I have a link in the description to Merch Informer where you can check the competition, as well as some other things here. They got some great tools. But here is your trend. Let's scroll up again. Working like crazy to support the lazy, only 514 results, so kind of low competition, not super low as I want it to be, but still pretty low, not in the thousands, so good there. So you might want to jump on this one and use some of the tips that I showed you. You can see this is mostly text design, not a lot of graphics, so this is a great one to use some of the tips that I showed in this video. And this is your trend for this video, working like crazy to support the lazy. So thanks so much for joining me on this video. If you like this video and it gave you some value, and I hope it did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I have one right here in the bottom right corner. And if you'd like to see more videos with design tips, you can click a couple of these here. And as always, guys, keep creating and keep learning. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.